Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Showtime Satch, and today we have another episode of Satchmoe Chess. We haven't posted a video about 8 months, 9 months. It's been a minute. I'm not gonna lie, but I have been working. You see my rating here, and this game was a 1944. I'm down to 1905 about right now. I peaked at about 1960, so I think last time I loaded a video might have been like a 1700. So we got about 200 rating points, but don't let the rating points fool you. We still have some bad games here and there. And this is one of those games. I could go out and show my best games, make me look really good. But if you want to see good chess, go watch Hikaru Nakamura, go watch Magnus Carlsen. I'm not that guy. Okay, I'm not decent. I'm not bad, but I'm gonna make some bad games, and I think this is one of those games to watch here. So we'll go ahead and start. In this game, my opponent Niki Lauda, 02, from Italy, 1931. I was in 1944. Okay, so let's get this game started off right. E5 or E4. If you know me, I'm gonna play E4 almost every time I have the white pieces. And we get a Sicilian defense, and my response to Sicilian is always the same: the Grand Prix attack. I wanted to learn some more. Some smarter openings, I guess, with the white pieces, but this has just gotten me so much success, and you'll see why very soon. Just typical moves here. You always want to play bishop f5 with the plan to sacrifice for the knight. He brings his knight out. Okay, I bring my knight out. He pins the bishop, and we just go ahead and castle. Or he pins the knight with his bishop in that castle. And finally, he asks the question, a6. Okay, what are you going to do with this bishop? We capture, and you see the engine already rates this position as about +1 for white. So although they say the Grand Prix isn't, you'll never see a Grandmaster play it. At this level, this position, I would say I get this, maybe 50% of the time, and it's already +1 for white. So, and it gives you a lot of good attacking chances. Rook E1 or Queen E1. Very common move to try and get the queen to this diagonal to start an attack. And he plays G5 or G6. And I'll be honest, whenever I see G6, my eyes light up in this position. I always play F5. F5 is not the smartest move, but I can tell you he's not castling queenside. And now you can win a pawn here for sure. You can go captures, but it's not good. It's really not that great for you, right? Because after this, possibly d4, and if you decide to capture, okay, we have this on your, we have a double attack on your bishop. Bishop's got to move back, and even now rook captures, right? This is still pinned. You still haven't developed, so this would be great for me. Not likely to happen. A lot of people don't want to, obviously, want to capture to the g pawn, but it just creates some pressure here. I like the tension, and honestly, it's starting to even potentially trap his bishop in, which will come later in the game. So that does not happen in this game. Instead, we get bishop g7, just fianchettoing the bishop. And I play d3, just strengthening the pawn structure. Also opening up my dark square bishop. Castles, and we get queen h4. So to this point, you may say, wow, this has been a great game. Where does the fun begin? Don't worry, it starts soon. Rook b8. So he's saying, okay, if you move your bishop, I'm attack for that pawn. In a game like this, if I have a move with the I'm not going to care about these pawns, right? I'm going after the king with everything I got, so not quite the biggest deal for me. Just bringing the queen or bringing the rook in here, not threatening checkmate, obviously, because this knight is currently defending, but I want to create a weakness here. I like when they push h6. Now I have a target for this little battery here. He doesn't though. He plays e5, and this is a huge mistake already. I don't capitalize on this mistake, because the correct move here, always the correct move, is en passant. After en passant, it's kind of hard to pick a move with white, so the main threat here, rook captures back and checkmate, right? So you have to stop that. The best way, what the engine recommends here is h5, but if you play h5, then it's simply pawn captures, king here, and it's kind of hard to create some moves for black. White's going to have a strong attack here. H3 even works. Bishop's got to move back, and now g4, right? This is pinned. It's not going to look good. At some point, this rook is going to sacrifice itself, and you're going to have a strong attack. That's the most logical way to play. But instead, we go h3, which h3 is also a great move with the idea of trapping this bishop. It's a great move if you follow up with the game plan of trapping that bishop. I don't know what happened. I think I got a little too... I was trying to think too outside the box. In this position, g4, you just win the bishop, and that's how you play. Pawn captures g6. It's not a great move. I'll be honest. Now, if he captured the pawn, it would be a great move, but obviously he's not going to do that. He's going to capture back with the bishop, and now these pawns are defended. You really don't have an attack. White is still technically better here, but all the advantage, you basically have a piece, and now it's anybody's game. And after knight d1, black's already better. So not the strongest way to finish this attack, but it happens. d5, number one position, or being the best position, best move in the position. We say, okay, I'm going to jump my knight in here. I still want to create some threats, even though there's not really anything here. Possibly get a knight check and either force up a dark square bishop or get captures here. But that's probably not going to happen. So he goes captures. He can't capture again because this is defended 3 times. He has 2 attackers defended 3 times, but after a move like queen to d4, was the white would be winning here if I play c3. c3 is going to kick this queen off this pin, and now the knight can jump in. But we don't play that. Instead, we just move king h1. I say, okay, I'm going to give up this pawn. It doesn't matter, and we're going to go for the attack here. So knight captures the pawn, as expected. Now we're bringing the knight in here. Once again, we're trying to trade off this to get this dark square bishop. Although black is just winning here, right? It is not a great position for white. He's going to trade off, the knights here. Captures. And now f5. f5 is going to attack the knight. Bishop here, so a little intermediate move. Wanting to tempo on the bishop. He does capture this pawn, but now his queen's a little bit out of the game. And we decide to play knight check. He doesn't want to trade off the dark square bishop. And I play rook d1, threatening to bring this rook into the game. However, this is a huge mistake. This, once again, loses the game on the spot instantly with bishop f6. The queen's almost trapped, not quite. You got to go queen g3, and this pawn push is going to win a piece. My king is not looking safe here. I can either go queen h2 and put my queen on a horrible square, or I can fall under the guise of the rook. So this would be horrible. If he played this move, once again, it's a 1900 rated player. If he finds bishop f6, that's a move that even a beginner would play, because, okay, you're attacking the queen, Doesn't happen, though. He decides to go f4 right away, and now this opens up some possibilities. Problem with this, bishop captures. Now his rook's under attack. And he doesn't have a great square. You'd love to challenge this rook, but this is defended 2 times, so that would blunder the game. Opponent's not going to play that. Instead, he goes rook e7, which is a fine move. But now we get rook d7. And now there are threats on the board. Sacrificing this rook definitely becomes a possibility. And now we have queen to b5. And I'll let you guys stop the video here. What is the best move in this position? There is no checkmate in the board, but it will give you a winning advantage. And it's a move I should have played, honestly. So I'll give you a second. All right, if you guys are back with us, we'll tell you what the move was not. The move is not rook captures f4. Now, it's not that this is a bad move or anything. It has ideas. This is now a drawn position. But this is the move I played. I wanted to unleash my inner Tal, right? This bishop's hanging. I say, well, you know what? Why not let my rook hang too? What's the problem with that? Sadly, it is not a winning move. My idea was if, queen captures maybe. We got rook captures, and I was going to play something like this. This bishop be under check, and now it's mate in 1. So that was my best idea. Not that I was enforced or by any means. This was not the way to play here at all. But in this position, the move you want to find is rook fd1. You want to double up these rooks, and now, if you decide to go for the same idea of queen captures, we have the same sacrifice. If king captures, now you're even bigger load of trouble. Rook's coming in, and basically your only move here is to sack a piece. So rook, you have to go. It's the only way to stop mate. And sure, you can say there's some sort of exchange here, but this is not good for black. White is winning +4 according to the engine, and white should win this endgame. Pawns are equal, and a queen should outduel a rook and a bishop. However, white is not forced to capture by any means after rook d1, but there's not really any other good moves here. But this isn't what happened in the game, so we're not going to look at it. Instead, what happened was rook captures on f4, and he does accept the rook. And now this is, once again, a drawn endgame only if white plays rook captures g7, which is what we do. And now in this position, white has to play rook e1. It is the only move that white can play and still hope for a draw or even a win. Instead, what happens is we get, and I'll show you in a minute why that's so important. Instead, king captures, and now this game is basically over. Bishop d4 is a check, and once again, there's not much to play for here. computer recommends queen e5. Okay, so if you're hoping for a sacrificing your queen in this position is not the best move. Instead, my opponent plays king to f8, and we've simply followed up. My opponent resigned in this position after queen f6 because the only move left is to get checkmated. And now you understand why rook e1 was so important. If in this position my opponent plays rook e1, we go here. Now the difference is king captures, bishop. Well, bishop check doesn't win the game anymore. Now you have to go through a different line, which I wouldn't have found. You know, bishop check. Obviously, you can't capture because it's pinned. Let's see, king g8, h. Okay, so we would just go back and forth in this kind of position. I guess if you go out here, well, obviously that can't happen. Okay, so it's a pretty forced check. And if you ever go into this corner, this queen will deliver checkmate. So it's a forced drawn line if you go there. And you know, the difference is that if you were to go out this way, this rook's not blocking you in, which is what happened in the game. So if we go back to the game, after this, the king cannot escape because he is caught in checkmate. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a back and forth game. It could have gone either way. White had many chances, black had many chances, but that's the video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.